is the Extra Point Podcast from Arizona's family.
All right, episode number 1 of Hard Knocks is in the books. Paul Horton here in the Extra Point Podcast studio has just watched it downstairs in between forecasts. What'd you think?
I'm happy it wasn't election night coverage, okay? It was good, man. NFL does a great job.
I didn't want it to stop, so let's bring in a guy who's there every single day, right alongside of us here at Arizona's family, Tyler Drake from Arizona Sports.
Yes.
All right, so you like fresh out of the theater, the home theater, to watch this thing. What was your impression of Hard Knocks episode 1 with the Arizona Cardinals?
You know, I think the biggest thing for me is just the heart and soul of this football team is Budda Baker. I think that's the biggest thing. He really, I think we saw a side that I haven't seen just with him and his sister and really having that family aspect and just having everybody. I mean, everyone's talked about how crucial he is to the team, but I think you just saw, he really is the lifeblood of this team, this entire team. That speech, even though we've seen it a couple times already in the preview, still a killer speech, really just gives, I think if anybody was watching, it gives you chills of just how passionate he was. And on top of that, I think we saw a different side of Cliff there. I think we saw a little bit more, like you said, I thought we saw a little bit more of an alpha. I thought he actually, took control of the room and really showed that, he is the head coach and he really has something to say. And it seems like his players want to listen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like they want to follow him. I cannot figure out why television cameras, and sometimes we pick up shots of Cliff Kingsbury not looking like he's in command now. Maybe they could pick and choose their shots there, but he certainly looked like he was in command of this team.
That was good. That was good to see because I was the same way. I was nervous. I was nervous after the game. He lost the team.
Right.
That didn't happen, which is good.
Right. I don't think he's lost the team at all. I think there's a lot of talent here. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. They've dug themselves way too big of a hole. But it's an interesting group, and it's a group that still seems to be, I guess, believing at this point. Wouldn't you say that? I mean, even without Budda Baker this week, I think they're going to go out and be in the game in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and I think this is that game. I think Seattle, they really got away with not winning that game. I mean, it was like we've all seen, what we've all heard. It's a self-inflicted type deal right now. It's just they can't get out of their own way. And I think really with this Rams team this Rams team is worse off than the Cardinals right now. Let's be plain and simple. The injuries are piling up there. Their O-line is just in shambles. So this has got to be the turning point. If they're going to have a turning point to the season, it's got to be against the Rams. It's got to be against the team that has had the Cardinals number the last couple of years. But if they're going to find that turnaround game, that turnaround of the season, it's got to start in LA.
All right. So we saw we saw Budda Baker. That was pretty cool. We got to see Kingsbury's house. Paul, have you been over there?
Yeah, I've been over there a couple times. Nice place. Love the theater.
Of course.
I've got an observation too. Okay, you're Michael Bidwell. Okay.
Yeah.
One thing, if you're Michael Bidwell and you own a jet and you're flying back from Washington D.C., it's game day. Why are you taking on the stress to become the pilot to fly the thing out there? If I had enough money like Michael Bidwell had, I'd be sitting in the back. Let someone else stress about, being the pilot and order a couple cocktails before I go watch my team sitting in between the governor and the GM. I mean, come on.
Well, and I loved when he pulled in the parking lot, too, and the guy's like, welcome to State Farm. It's like, yes.
I own the team.
He owns the joint. What was your favorite part, Tyler?
Yeah, I think that part right there, just the welcome to State Farm Stadium had to be a great part. And then, I think also just the Kyler Murray talking to himself during practice where he's locked the F in, just kept saying it to himself, lock in. So I thought that was pretty interesting. There was a lot of good parts, it's just, I think we saw a lot of just the nuts and bolts of this team that we really haven't seen. I mean, I think with how the season's progressed, we have kind of been shut off more than we were last year, the beginning of the year. And now we're kind of seeing that what's really, really, really going on behind these walls of the training facility. And I think just overall, it's just cool to see, the meeting rooms, the Sean Jefferson to DeAndre Hopkins, how he called him ignorant for not thinking he could be a Hall of Famer, those kind of conversations, we would never pick those up in or just being there. So I think that was really cool just to see that inside look that way.
Well, in Curse Cliff, I'm going to just say, I like Cliff Kingsbury better when he's dropping F-bombs.
When he's on cable?
He's right. It's like he's a different guy. He's like he's a different cat.
Yeah,
people want to follow him. I mean, he's maybe sworn in the media room, Tyler, this year once when he was talking about the University of Texas, and he wasn't going to wear burnt orange.
It was probably very light, and it was
right.
it was a light word. It wasn't one of those F-bombs.
Right. I mean, so cool. I look at that. I look at Cliff. I think people are following him. I think it's probably not time to make a change right now. Now, as we go on down the road, this is going to be real interesting on Hard Knocks here, Paul.
What happens?
I mean, as the heat picks up, they were talking about it at the facility today.
What happens if they lose this upcoming game this Sunday? There's going to be even more pressure, to let Cliff go.
Do they go back to his house?
Could you imagine how uncomfortable that would be?
Oh my gosh. Right.
Oh, the pain.
It's all going to be on camera.
And I mean, like, they can spin the narrative. I mean, they can't, but I don't feel it. I don't feel it watching that making a change right now makes a lot of sense. And maybe I'm just fresh out of watching this and thought it was cool and I want to watch it some more.
Okay, I gotta bring this up because the cameras were there looking at Steve Keim and looking at Bidwell up there at some of those tough moments, and you're there, you could tell they were pissed.
Right.
So who knows? I mean, if they have another bad game, two more bad games, this could be ugly.
It could. Well, I tell you what I thought wasn't as ugly as it looked like on the sidelines. And if you can't hear, you can't tell. But when DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler got into it, did you feel like that was edited at all, Tyler? Or do you feel like that was the whole thing?
I thought that there might have been maybe a couple seconds out of there, but I think for the most part, they got the gist of what was going on. I thought it was interesting that, Hop was the first one up to him like, hey, what did you see? What are you seeing out there? Like, what's going on? And then Kyler comes back and we saw that, that's the clip I think we all saw was when they're finally like, he's pointing this way and going back and forth. So thought that was good. And then again, Cuss Cliff coming in there and saying, hey, quit arguing, get it together and let's roll. And yeah, that's like you said, it's cool to see that we can actually see exactly what that exchange was. And I also thought it was interesting, just the injury side of it. We saw when Kyler got banged up on that scramble. We saw when Buddha got banged up. So those are the type of things that we wouldn't see normally. So that's cool.
Right. And, I found DeAndre Hopkins very likable, except for the fact that he told me today he'd be right back and never came back to do an interview. But maybe he was – can we say – I don't know. I mean,
he gave us the veteran
the Heisman. The Heisman. We got the Heisman.
Hey, since you guys are at the facility, did you guys see yourselves on Hard Knocks
I think I caught the back of Tyler's head.
No?
Oh,
Tyler.
No?
I was out in the weather. I got myself out in the weather for about a split second with JJ, right behind JJ.
Oh, look at you.
And you're out there every morning with the 10 minutes of video that we get. So this is why this is so unique, because we get 10 minutes of guys stretching.
It?
Yeah.
That's it.
And then they clear you out.
Yeah. And then you get
like most of that stuff that we saw, I mean, really, if you saw the guys lined up and kind of doing the stretching, that's about the extent that we get. Outside of that, all that practice stuff, that's new to us too. So that's kind of cool to see just the 7-on-7s. And like I said, with Kyler talking to, his players, he told Rondale Moore, just get open. No matter what you do, just get open. So that was really cool to see just because, we're walking in and then they start going into that.
I also thought that it definitely kind of lowered the exterior, kind of the wall that we get from the team. And I think a lot of pro athletes put that up to keep the media at bay. And they're just like, well, I'm going to be mean and they'll leave me alone to an extent. And you got to see people in their interpersonal actions. And I feel like you got to know these guys a little more. Who was kind of your favorite guy to kind of see on there?
Well, Buddha Baker for sure.
Yeah.
His sister who wants to go to ASU.
Right.
That was so cool. Seeing his house and his mom was there. I think this is going to make Buddha Baker an even bigger star.
Yeah, I want to see Buddha's dog more, right? Do you have a dog, by the way, Tyler? Is there a dog in the house?
I got two.
You want to bring him in or no? Is that
behind you?
They would probably ruin the entire everything.
Podcast. Yeah,
they'd be jumping behind me. They'd be getting front and center. I would be completely out of here. But yeah, I got a Australian Shepherd. His name's Wrigley. We picked him up from one of our friends who's a good dog, not a Cubs fan whatsoever. And then we got a Pit Terrier. His name's Roscoe. So yeah,
I've got a Pit Terrier named Roscoe as well. That's crazy.
No way.
Are you?
Yes.
Are you kidding?
No. And this morning, Roscoe was using the restroom at the park, and I look up, and there's Diana Taurasi walking by me, and I was like, "Hi,
what?
Hi,
what kind of life do you live?
No. This is Mark's neighborhood.
Yeah,
it's
a park. I live by the closest park. I'm not up in the PV region. Yeah.
And you, your son's. A lot of his son's sports teams has, ex NFL, major leaguers playing.
It's just
No big
yeah,
deal.
man. That's just the Phoenix area. They've all moved here.
Tyler, it's a lot different in North Phoenix for me, bro.
He's
Hey, I'm not in
sweating
San
out up
Valley.
there.
It's way different out here.
Well, okay, so who are you looking most forward to hearing more about, Tyler, in this next episode? I got to go J.J. Watt and the baby. That might be a sensitive deal if I don't know if they'll get in there or not. What do you think?
I'm pretty surprised that we didn't get more of JJ, but maybe that was the old I've been through this before kind of deal. I would say, man, that's a tough one. I'd like to hear more of Antonio Hamilton's story if they tell that, just about the burns and everything else. I think just him talking with us. I mean, he spent like 25 minutes talking with us, and I came away feeling like a better person just from all the stuff that he said. So I think that's a guy that I would love to see more of. I think obviously DJ Humphries in that offensive line room, which is obviously really depleted right now, but I think just seeing those guys interact is always a good time. And probably just more D-Hop, I'd say. I think he goes and Zaven. I'd say Zaven. I think if they do a little cutaway on Zaven, that would be a very interesting story because he's taken some steps. So I think him getting that backstory more would be great.
Do you think Kyler Murray pulls back the curtain and allows them?
That would be amazing.
I just think there's just so much room there for Kyler to be ridiculed for playing video games the way Patrick Peterson did.
Well, they have to show it, right?
They would. I mean, yeah. I mean, at some point, right? But if they keep losing, are we going to see Kyler? Or are we going to? I mean, we're going to be following around Colt McCoy, which I would love as a Texas alum, but I think I might.
Well, we'd probably see you on camera somewhere.
Yeah. See. Right. Now he kept mentioning his hamstring. Is it enough that he might not play and Colt could fill in this game, you think?
Well, he didn't go through the walkthrough today, so I guess we'll be out there tomorrow. Tyler, are you on the field tomorrow? What time are you out there to let us all know on social media?
Yeah, it's I think later morning, so I think like 11-ish, right around then. But yeah, it's he was DNP today. It was just an estimation participation walkthrough. But yeah, Ian Rappaport said it was nothing catastrophic, but something to watch. So definitely, we'll be watching that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Man, well, hey, good stuff. Good little recap here. If you're around the next couple Wednesdays, love to have you on. This is kind of a fun. Yeah. I feel like it's like Game of Thrones, but it's our own it's our our team and
dude.
Get
NFL
to see behind
does
the
such
scenes.
a good job with that.
Yeah. As we leave you here, can everybody give me their best? Burr, 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 burr.
What?
Like the song, like the Hard Knocks song.
Oh.
Does
it actually sound like that?
No.
No, I don't.
Bro, that sounds like a pterodactyl.
It's like three trumpets. Dun, 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 dun.
No.
Yeah, it's like no, that's not it.
That's good. That's good.
Okay.
No, give me one.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to practice it. Okay, and I'll do it next week when we watch.
Yeah, next
week
I'm
going to perfect it.
All right.
In fact, I'm actually going to bring a trumpet up here. Okay.
Oh, please do it. Please do it.
Tyler, you can come in studio too if you want to drive 45 minutes into Phoenix to hang out.
Yeah, he says, okay, great.
Cool.
I might as well watch it with you guys too at that point.
You might as well. We had
dude, it's so much fun to watch it in the newsroom.
So loud in the newsroom, and they're trying to do news updates.
It's kind of a big day today.
With election updates, we're just cranking Hard Knocks.
F-bombs flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Come on. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the sports department is, we're right in between the studio and the newsroom, and we sit kind of near where the anchors are.
Yeah,
and
I
can tell.
They hate it.
They
Yes.
Plus, we had a great Suns game to watch too. So
right.
Oh yeah.
We should do a sports show after this and hear from Tyler on the Extra Point
this.
at 10:35. The Valley's only night local sports show. So we're gonna
So
go edit this.
Thank you, brother.
I hope you get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Say hi to Roscoe.
Yes.
I will.
The Extra Point Podcast is a production of 3TV, CBS 5, and azfamily.com in Phoenix, Arizona.